That's some good sound design.
Truth is, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Don't blink because this is probably going to be the
So today on the channel, I am going to be just straight up robbing Dan Becker. A lot of you have provided questions over to Dan Becker, and a lot of them were really good and got me thinking. So I'm just going to answer those questions. I'm just going to do some internet piracy. So here we go, starting now.
What exactly are the reasons from holding you back from going on a solo trip? I just would much rather go with people because I'm super social and I just like having fun with friends.
Dan, you need to learn how to love yourself. So Dan, I gotta take you on your first solo trip. Dan, try it. And I know that you probably just want the safety of knowing that somebody will fight off the bear while you're curled up in a ball. But try it. I think you might like it. It can be a cathartic experience. I think everybody should go on solo wilderness trips. It is deeply powerful.
Curious to know if you have a career job outside of YouTube, and if so, what do you do, or is making YouTube videos your full-time job? Love your videos. Autumn. I did when I first started. I had a business. I was an insurance agency owner. Very small agency, but I did own an insurance agency. So yes, this is my full-time job. And it's also Emmett's full-time job. Right, Emmett? Yeah. Fun fact, Emmett used to work at Target before this. Emmett, what do you like better, Target or working for me? Answer wisely.
Definitely you.
This is not my full-time job, but Epic Trails.
I'm Eric Hansen. When I see a trail,
Filming a television show is my full-time job. Before that, I was a freelancer. Before that, I was a guide.
Parker Sutton, best distance for an overnight trip for a beginner backpacker. That would be just like literally your backyard. Your first trip should be in your backyard because then you can actually test gear. If you don't have a backyard, I don't know what to tell you. Then just go like no more than like a quarter of a mile in somewhere.
That's not really a trip in my books. That is good for like getting familiarized with your gear. Just making sure that your tent, you know how to set up your tent. In terms of a trip, I feel like 2 miles. 2 miles is perfect. It gives you the experience of actually carrying weight. It gives you the understanding of what's the difference between a 35-pound pack, a 25-pound pack, how much all of those things actually start to accumulate. But you're not gonna go too hard. You're not going to hurt yourself. The amazing thing is that there are so many ridiculously cool places that you can go hike to. 2 miles from any trailhead, get back into wilderness, get back into true remote terrain, and you're still only 2 miles away from your car if something goes terribly wrong and you need to get out of there.
Ryan Ormiston, have you ever been hiking?
I don't know if you can call what Dan does hiking.
Adventures with Dad, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a concern are bears when backpacking and hiking in bear-ish areas? Is there such thing as bear-ish areas? It's either bears or not bears. Had a harrowing experience as a kid in Kings Canyon. Also, how much of a difference does a good sleep pad make for an oldie but goodie hiker? That's a nice way of putting that. I swore I'd never tent camp after using a $10 foam pad from a retail store. Thank you. Bears, I'm just going to tell you my experience with bears. I have only seen one bear ever out in the backcountry, and it was actually with Emmett recently in Texas. We saw him at the visitor center, and there was like literally old ladies taking pictures of it. So I've heard them. But yes, if you're ever in bear country, always be smart. Carry bear spray. Some people like to carry a firearm. But yeah, absolutely be vigilant in that. And then how much of a difference does a good sleeping pad make for an oldie but goodie hiker? I think you already know the answer to that. A lot.
The fear of wilderness is strong. As long as you're doing the bear protocols, I don't generally concern myself with it. I just am aware, being respectful of wildlife, and that's kind of it. And then on the sleeping pad idea, this is like the biggest thing that I like to harp on. Invest, is this thing on? Hello, invest in a good quality sleeping mattress. Getting a good one will make a huge, huge difference because yes, people definitely swear off backpacking because they just can't sleep good on those foam pads.
What's your wife's favorite sleeping pad? She's only gone backpacking with me twice, and she used the Nemo tensor, and she liked it.
Well, I don't have a wife, but I have a girlfriend, and she's been sleeping on the Rapide Air from Big Agnes, and it is a extra long and extra wide, and she loves it.
When loaded up, 25 plus pounds, how should your backpack feel when it fits properly? Where should you ideally feel the weight? Ryan, doesn't really matter how heavy your backpack is. Your backpack should be having the weight on your hips though, so it should be distributing the weight from your shoulders to your hips.
Dan hits it on the head here. It doesn't really matter what the weight is. The way it's distributed should be the same. If you're carrying less weight, you can get away with a poorly packed or poorly fitting backpack more just because it's not as heavy. I generally say roughly 50% should be on your shoulders, and then the rest of the 50% should be distributed across your back and upon your hips. That is a loose guideline.
You only had one company to use. Who would it be? Oh man. That's a loaded question, dude. That's like literally the most loaded question ever. The truth is, I would probably go with Outdoor Vitals, actually, because they make everything. They make sleep systems, backpacks, and tents. They're not the best at everything, but all things considered, they make really good gear. Some of the best quilts I've ever used. Their backpack is great. And they just came out with a new tent that I tried this past week called the 40th Trekking Pole Tent. It's actually a pretty decent tent. And they have a bunch of odds and ends, including clothes. So that's a super loaded question. And the only reason I say Outdoor Vitals is because of all those reasons. And I think Outdoor Vitals is amazing, but I still would want to use stuff from other Can I just possibly use stuff? I just like gear. I like gear. Please don't take away my gear. This is really stressful. This is a very stressful question because I love gear. And if you take away my gear, you take away my heart, who I am.
I can confirm that Dan's identity is wrapped up in gear, so that would definitely a surprise answer. I don't have a ton of familiarity with Outdoor Vitals, but from what I do know of them, they're definitely pretty cool. Yes, it is a loaded question, like Dan says. There's two companies that come to mind. Obviously, the biggest factor with a question like this is if you're limited to one company, that company just has to make everything. And few companies make that many products. Cascade Designs owns a bunch of companies. They run MSR most notably and Thermarest. So yeah, I would either say MSR because I really love their tents, their stoves, their water filtration. And then with their sister company Thermarest, they make really good sleeping pads and sleeping bags. But because that's a little bit of a cheat answer because it's multiple companies, I would say Sea to Summit. No affiliation with them. I just like Sea to Summit a lot, and they make the craziest array of products. They do make some backpacks, not a lot. They started making tents, which I actually really like the Telos tent is pretty cool. Super expensive, but it's a cool tent. They make sleeping bags. The Ascent, the green one behind me, is one of my favorite sleeping bags of all time. The Comfort Plus is one of my favorite sleeping mattresses of all time. And then they just make a huge array of cooking stuff, camp cleanup stuff, little odds and ends. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous how much they actually make. So because they just make so much, I'd probably go with Sea to Summit. No single company is going to be the absolute best at everything across the spectrum. So I know people want to find that golden ticket, but it just kind of doesn't exist.
How much camera equipment does Emmits carry, and how much does it all weigh? I think Emmett should probably answer that question.
I gotta meet Emmett sometime. Seems like a cool guy.
What's up, everyone? Avery, I typically bring a camera body, a couple lenses, a mic, a tripod, a bunch of extra batteries, a battery bank. This last trip we brought a drone finally, so that'll be cool. Watch out for the drone footage on the next video. That's pretty much it. But yeah, in terms of weight, I'm not exactly sure because it varies from trip to trip, but it's definitely a lot.
How much do I carry? This is my typical camera setup that I've been carrying. This is the Sony a7R III. That weighs 2 pounds as the body, and then I've got to get some lens stuff as well, microphone stuff, extra lenses, and then tripods. I always backpack with a tripod. So generally speaking, I typically carry at least 8 pounds, if not more like 12 to 14 pounds in camera related accessories. It is hard to be a filmmaking backpacker, that's for sure, because what some people would consider their max weight with a backpack is just camera equipment.
Eddie, I really enjoy the hikes with you and Eric Hansen. With that said, what about a Q&A or live stream with the two of you? Keep up the great work. Appreciate it always. I'm actually talking to Eric right now, like literally coincidentally, about going on another backpacking trip. Maybe we'll do a Q&A. That'd be kind of fun.
That blesses my heart. Well, in fact, Eric Hansen is one of my favorite hiking companions. Dan is one of my favorite hiking companions. So I would totally do it. And yeah, we are talking about doing an upcoming trip together. Stay tuned for that.
What is the type of gear you should spend more money on versus what can you get away with buying less top of the line? If I'm going to spend money anywhere, it's going to be on my backpack, it's going to be on my sleep system, and it's going to be on my shelter. But you can also find cheap versions of that. I've got videos on that.
Dan, that's kind of a weak answer, I think. What am I going to spend money on? For sure, number one, sleep. Sleep system, getting a quality sleeping bag, but most importantly, getting a quality sleeping mattress. I like the air inflatable mattresses, good with good R value, good insulation value. That would be my number one, that's for sure. If you're gonna skimp on anything, actually I think that there are some really good cheap tents out there. You're gonna have to carry a little bit more, but some of the $150 tents that are out there, I've actually had huge success with, and so I would save some money there. You can totally get away with cheap clothing. In fact, that is probably one of the biggest places that people overspend. They feel like they need to look the part before they can go be the part, and no, just go to Goodwill, buy some crap clothing, and just get out there. That doesn't mean don't be prepared. It just means you don't have to look like you came out of a Patagonia catalog in order to go backpacking. And then I would say get good footwear, because your feet, actually, they're the contact with the ground, and if you get bad footwear, you're gonna feel it, you're gonna be hurting, and having blistery, bad, hurting feet is about the worst thing ever. So get some good shoes too. That's what I would say.
Michael Peterson, on average, how many backpacking trips do you take per year? What are your favorite areas to explore? I think last year I counted 16 backpacking trips.
Got you beat, Dan.
Most of them were not local. They were all over the United States. And one of my favorite areas to explore would be anything alpine.
More than one a month. That's the average. Usually I would say probably 18, 20. Just in July, I went on 4 different backpacking trips. So they stack up. Yeah, probably 20 per year. And my favorite areas to explore? My backyard. Not my literal backyard, because that's boring. Canyon country, that's my favorite. That's my jam. That's why I live where I live. And totally just love it out in this Colorado plateau.
Kevin Burrows, if you aren't trying to go ultralight, what do you find as the ideal weight or sweet spot? I think that totally depends on you, Kevin, what you're able to carry. My sweet spot for not going ultralight is probably like 15 pounds. If I'm trying to go ultralight, then I just take as little and lightweight as gear as humanly possible.
15 pounds? What is it? What? The ideal weight for me, 30 pounds. That's pretty heavy though for most people. Yeah, I just carry heavy, so it's up to you what your ideal weight is. But I used to guide, and so I used to carry like big satellite phones, a bunch of medication for a bunch of people that I was guiding, med kits. I'm used to carrying a lot, and so for my answer is skewed.
Kristen Eisler Art Studio. That's a long YouTube name. It's a good one though, Kristen. I like it.
I like how Dan corrected himself because he realized he was making fun of somebody, but then he was like, wait, I want to be nice. So,
where did you go for your first backpacking trip, and how many miles did you hike in? It was locally here in Wisconsin. It was Kettle Moraine Southern Unit, and I hiked in maybe a mile.
My first backpacking trip was somewhere with my dad, somewhere here in Arizona. How many miles did you hike in? Don't recall, because I was 8, but it probably wasn't far. It was probably 2 miles. I like saying 2 miles. I have memories of going down the Grand Canyon with my dad as a 10-year-old. That was 10 miles. But I was 10 and I went 10 miles.
With innovations like the Big Agnes 3-in-1 sleeping bag, I'm curious if you've ever tried layering in your sleep system 2-quilt method or quilt and sleeping bag. Yes, I have. It works. Works great.
The 3-in-1 Ranger is one of my favorite sleep systems now, and I totally love it. But even before then, I did some backpacking trips this winter in which my 15 degree wasn't cold enough, but I didn't want to bring my -20, so I added in my down quilt from Outdoor Vitals, and together they made a perfect pairing when it got down to about 10 degrees. So totally legit way to do it. Just add in a quilt, tuck it on over top of you, and it will definitely add some warmth.
What is the most effective way to carry crunchy tacos while trying to pack ultralight? You have way more problems if you are trying to carry crunchy tacos.
2 hands.
Chantal McFarland says, favorite brand of freeze-dried food? Pinnacle Foods for sure.
Dan and I have the same answer. It's Pinnacle. Awesome food and compostable packaging, so double win.
Fisher asked, what's your opinion on through hiking? I think it's awesome for people who love to do that sort of thing. I just don't have the time to do it.
I respect it. I don't want to do it myself. I feel like the maximum trail I would do would be around 30 days.
What's the strangest thing you have witnessed on a backpacking trip? Ever seen Bigfoot? Yes, I have. He's real.
The strangest thing I have ever seen is a squirrel saving my life, the life of 3 friends, and Yosemite National Park.
Veronica says, have you ever thought of hiking outside of America, Europe, Asia, or did you ever do that? No, I have not, and I would absolutely love to. As a matter of fact, Emmett and I are heading to Africa in November, so stay tuned for that.
Luckily, my job is to go backpacking all over the world, again with Epic Trails, but before I ever did that show, I've been a traveler, so that one's easy for me. There's nowhere I won't go. That was super fun. So thanks for watching me watch Dan and then me commenting on me watching Dan. This was kind of like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 kind of experience, and it was super fun. So hopefully you liked my take on it, and also check out Dan's The Original, because Dan needs some credit and some love here. So go check out Dan Becker if you don't know him. He's just one of my favorite people, and so I love ripping off his videos, and I hope to do it again in the future. So thanks so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please give us that thumbs up. Subscribe here at Backpacking TV. I'm Eric Hansen. I gotta go finish this delicious cup of coffee and finish getting my broom back, because I need to go do some housework. All right, see ya. Broom microphone.